Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to class. Today's class, we're going to be talking about why Smash Bros. Is better. Now, by the time of this video, you're probably texting on your keyboard or your phone or whatever and going in the comment section about to rage. Now, please don't rage because I have some compelling arguments for you today. Okay? Now, if this video does get you angry, I'm not sorry. I'm not. Because I think I have very compelling arguments today. Now, mind you, this is coming from a non-Nintendo fan. Now, you're probably wondering, how are you not a Nintendo fan and you're saying this? Great question. I'm not a Nintendo fan because Nintendo are copyright monsters. Okay? And they're money mongers. Okay? I grew up with Nintendo. But as I went on, I started to go to PlayStation and Mario and all that stuff, Nintendo stuff, started to just like fade away. Like that stuff is just, I started to drift away from that as I got older. I guess it was just a maturing thing. I'm not saying people that play Nintendo are immature. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't misquote me, please. But what I'm saying is, as I got older, I started to just grow out of being in the whole Nintendo space, especially with the copyright stuff. I think with the copyright stuff and the cases that they had, with people just doing like small stuff and them suing them for that, really put a bad taste in my mouth for Nintendo. But regardless, I digress, right? Nintendo, without a shadow of a doubt, has made the best fighting game to man. It is better than Street Fighter, it is better than Tekken, and it is better than Mortal Kombat. We're not talking about Soul Calibur. What game is that? Soul Calibur? Virtual Fighter? Is that game called Virtual Fighter or Virtue Fighter? I don't know. I don't care. And we're definitely not talking about Fighter Z. We're not talking about it. And we're not talking about Graze Blue. We're not talking about Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Rage Blast 2, even though that game is fire. Even though people say Rage Blast 1 is better. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the main core fighting games that people are talking about today that have new games coming out. So those fighting games are Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. And Smash Brothers is better than all those three. All of them. Yeah, I said it. It's better. And I'm going to tell you why. So without further ado, let's get the class in session. First case scenario and first argument. They have a consistent and great roster. Now, I think all of us can agree that Nintendo has a consistent roster throughout all its games. Every single game, it has been consistent. Like, even if they don't have one of your characters in the game, 9 times out of 10, it was in the other game or in Ultimate. For example, my favorite character was Roy in Melee. They did not have him in Brawl. I was a little bit upset about that, but I loved Ike. Even though Ike and Roy they're not the same. I'm not saying they're the same. They're not. They're both fire-based, but they're not the same character. And I think that's why they didn't put Roy in the game. But I wasn't mad at it. And they didn't add Roy in the Wii U 3DS version. And that's okay. But they added him as DLC. And guess what? I brought it. So, and also, another thing. Wait, did they have Wario in? No, I can't even use Wario. Dang. I can't use Wario. Okay, Young Link. Like, people that like Young Link in Melee, right? He wasn't in Brawl. He wasn't in the Wii U. But he came back in Ultimate. So, we can all agree that Nintendo has always had a consistent roster throughout its games. Nobody can argue that. Right? Cool. If you look at all these other fighting games, if we look at Street Fighter's roster is one of the most povertest rosters I've ever seen in my life. The only roster that was actually great was Street Fighter 4. I think that game had 24, 23 characters or something like that. And after that, and then they had Super Street Fighter 4 and all that, which those don't count. But when you look at Street Fighter 5 and that roster, yo, man, that was poverty. I'm sorry, bro. And then Street Fighter 6, yes, they have your classic characters, but the roster is still poverty, bro. Why is Akuma not base roster? It doesn't make no sense. Tekken, I'm going to give a slide for the roster because they actually bring back characters that people actually care about. Eddie Gordo does not count, okay? Because I know people If you didn't watch my video on my Christian channel, people are individuals. That's all I'm gonna say. Tekken gets a slide. Mortal Kombat are money mongers as well, because they like to put people's favorite characters under a paywall, under AKA DLC. Tekken, I'm not gonna lie, when they made Eddie Gordo DLC, I'm not surprised, but I am surprised because I'm like, as I said, I'm not gonna get into it in this video, but the fact that they put Eddie Gordo as DLC is so funny, because they were calling Harada racist for not adding Eddie Gordo in the game, or at least that one person was on Twitter. I'm pretty sure people on Twitter was agreeing with that guy said, but it's funny that they put him as DLC just to almost put a slap on that guy's face and say, yo, if you want Eddie Gordo, you gotta pay for him though. That's so funny to me. But anyway, just what I'm trying to say is Nintendo has always pleased the fan with consistent and always a great roster. Like, even if, as I said, even if you didn't have your favorite character in the game, there are 9 times out of 10 in the next game or in Ultimate. We can't argue that. I'm sorry. Unlike Mortal Kombat, it takes us a decade for us to get some of the characters from 3D eras, and it's absolutely insane. Street Fighter, they just don't like adding characters in the game. I don't understand. And then Tekken doesn't really have a roster problem. I'm gonna be honest, Tekken doesn't really have a roster problem. I'm not really a huge fan of Tekken. I love Tekken though, but I'm not a huge fan. Like, I don't have like a relationship or like great connection with characters. Like, the only characters I play was like Kazuya, Haran, and that's it. But the characters I'm playing in Tekken 8 is gonna be Jin, Lars, and Brian. That's it. And it's like they are always in like every Tekken game. So it's like Tekken is like majority of the time consistent with their roster, right? So Tekken gets a slide. Tekken doesn't count. But Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, no, absolutely not, bro. So yeah, I already touched on all these points. They're always bringing back characters that they want. They give fans what they want, even though they're trolling. Bro, these people, Nintendo actually feed into the trolls. Like, they actually put Steve in the game. Like for a decade straight, people have been spamming Nintendo. Put Steve, put Minecraft, put this, put that in the game. They actually did it. The only thing they didn't do was add Waluigi though. Like, that's it. And Master Chief. But I think we could all agree that adding Steve in the game from Minecraft is absolutely insane. Like, they actually did it. That is crazy, bro. That is insane, bro. That is insane. Switching off, right? I'm going on to the last thing that's on here. DLC is not money mongering. Now, we could all agree that DLC is atrocious. Everybody hates DLC. If I could go back in time and delete DLC, I would. If I could find out who created DLC for the first time, I would have to have a charity boxing match with him. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do it. And I'm going to win. But regardless, right? I think we could all agree that DLC for Smash Bros. Is actually worth it. Having a paywall for Sora, Cloud, Ryu, Roy, Kazuya, Banjo-Kazooie, like all these characters that fans ask for, putting under a paywall is actually the strongest and smartest marketing strategy I've ever seen. Now other companies do it, but I think when other companies do it, it's awesome. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's awesome. Like, yo, just have it so you can leave us alone. I feel like Nintendo actually cares for their fans, so they're like, okay, they've been asking for Banjo, we're gonna put Banjo, but you gotta pay for him though. Like, I feel like they do it with grace, unlike these other companies. Like, I feel like they don't do it with malice. MK, malice. Pay the character, get out of our face. Tekken, Eddie Gordo's DLC, but I actually applaud them for putting Eddie as DLC. That's actually a good marketing strategy and a good marketing scheme. But I feel like he should have been base roster, because he's one of those characters that just need to be base roster so you can just be left alone. You get what I mean? And Street Fighter, there are characters that should not be DLC. Like, why is Eddie DLC? Why is Sheed DLC? That Aki new character? Oh, okay, she's DLC, that's fine. She's a new character, whatever. But why is Akuma DLC again? It doesn't make no sense. It's just money mongering. It's absolutely insane. But unlike those companies, I feel like Nintendo does it with grace. They do it with love. They do it with like, you know what? You guys asked for it. I'm gonna give it to you, but you gotta pay a price though. It's very scammy. I'm not gonna lie. It's very scammy. Like, if you think about it, it's really like manipulative. But I feel like it's with love though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know. It's kind of weird, but It's not as bad as other companies though. I feel like it's not as bad, and it's actually worth it. And I think the characters were like, I think $4, $5. I don't know. I can't really remember. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the first argument. Nintendo has a consistent and great roster throughout all its games. No argument. Cool. That's the first argument. The second one is gameplay always improving. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I think we could all agree that the gameplay has always been consistent. I mean, it's always going to be a platform game, right? I think we can all agree that the gameplay has always been improving from 64 to Ultimate. Because 64 was a little bit too slow. It was a little bit too slow. There wasn't really any combos in the game. It was the beginner game. You know, it was a beginner game, family friendly game, whatever. Melee is like when it started to get competitive, which it wasn't really, I wouldn't say it was really competitive. When did that game come out? 2003, I think. 2001, 2003. So competitive gaming wasn't really a thing that much. But Brawl, it was starting to get a little bit competitive. They didn't make it as fast as Melee, because Melee had so much glitches, so many glitches. It would freeze. It just had so many glitches. Where Brawl, people say that Brawl was the worst game. I do not believe that. I believe that game was fire when they introduced Final Smashes. Yo, even though people think it's scrubby, I used to love playing. Like, playing with my family was fire. I never used to play online. I didn't even have Wi-Fi during that time. So just imagine that. I didn't have Wi-Fi. Like, all I did was play with computers and play with my brother. That was a time to be alive. I promise you that. You have the Wii U, which was a little bit faster than Brawl. I think it was way faster, actually. And I played online with that, and the gameplay was good. And in Ultimate, it was faster. Gameplay was good. So, again, the gameplay has always been consistent, always been improving, and we cannot complain about the gameplay. Like, unlike other games, they're always changing something. Like, again, there wasn't a lot of changes in the game. Like, the only thing they changed was the speed of the game. It was just the speed and frame data. That's really it. Like, they didn't really change a whole aspect of the game, unlike most other games. There's always changing stuff. They're always changing some things and all this other stuff. Like, for majority, all the gameplay from 64 to Ultimate is majority the same. Just like with a couple new moves and a couple new frame data. Most of the stuff is the same, though. You know what I mean? So, I mean, Tekken is the same for the most part. For the most part, it's the same. For the most part, it's the same. Street Fighter, for the most part, is somewhat the same. They just have some gimmick stuff, though. Like, the gimmick is always different. Yeah, the gimmick is always different. And I guess that, Tekken doesn't really have gimmicks. I mean, does it? Yeah, they do. Actually, they do. Never mind, they do. They started to add the gimmick stuff in Tekken. Rage Drive or whatever it was called. I think it was called Rage Drive. And Rage Art. And then now they have Heat. So they're doing gimmick stuff. I don't know why they started to do gimmick stuff. They tried to be like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I don't know why they started to do that. And then Mortal Kombat, I don't even want to talk about that game. I'm sorry. I really don't want to talk about that game. I really do not want to talk about that game. But anyway, the gameplay has always been improving. Always been improving. They improved broken characters, massive glitches. Apparently, Melee was the best Smash, which I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's fast paced. Fox is broken. Best character game. Falco, whatever. But the best Smash for me personally was probably the Wii U version or Brawl. I didn't play Ultimate like that, so I'm not gonna say it's my favorite. But yeah, those are the game I play the most. I'll probably say those are my favorite ones, and I think that's the best Smash in my honest opinion. If I had to choose between Brawl and the Wii U, I'd probably pick the Wii U one. Even though the Wii U is a controversial console. But I mainly played it on the 3DS because the 3DS, I always played it everywhere. It was just fire, so yeah. Next, the next case I have is that they set trends. Now you're probably wondering, what did Nintendo set? What trend did Nintendo do? I'm gonna tell you. They made other companies do a story mode and not just do character endings. If you look at Tekken always did just character endings. There was not a story behind it. Barely. Like, the character endings, I don't think they're canon. Most of them are not canon, right? The main story that they started doing story, I think Tekken 5 or Tekken 6. Right? From there, Smash Brothers has been doing that. Smash Brothers did the cinematic story from Smash Brothers Brawl. So Smash Brothers was already setting a trend already. They already set the trend with that. So Tekken didn't do no stories until Tekken 5 or Tekken 6. Mortal Kombat didn't do no type of story until Mortal Kombat 9. I'm not counting Mortal Kombat Armageddon. That does not count. It did a story mode of Street Fighter 5, and that was absolutely garbage. Garbage. Absolutely garbage. Absolutely horrendous garbage. Fire. It was garbage. And Street Fighter 6 had World Tour, which was okay. It was alright. It was okay. I shouldn't even say it was alright. It was okay. Lowercase okay. So yeah, they set the trend for the story mode. They first started doing story mode and Smash Brothers Brawl with the, what was it, Submissionary Emissary or something like that. I don't really remember what it was called. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, they set the trend with doing that. So they set that trend. The next trend they did is made other companies think about adding guest characters in the game. I know companies added guest characters before Smash Brawl, but it just intensified the aura to add guest characters. Now, I know a lot of people is probably going to fact check me, say, oh, there was guest characters from this point. Listen. When Nintendo decided to add 2 guest characters in a fighting game, those guest characters being Snake and Sonic, that blew the internet up. People could not believe that Sonic and Mario are in the same exact game. This was probably the first collab of Nintendo and Sega together. The first collab. Adding a Metal Gear Solid character in the game? Are you serious? That absolutely broke the internet. Nintendo is known for gatekeeping. Like, they're known for gatekeeping stuff, bro. And not wanting to collab with no company, not wanting to do any of that. So the fact that they sat up there, spent a bag for a character, is, bro, they set the trend. That happened in 2008. Mortal Kombat started doing it, but Mortal Kombat just does it way better. I'm sorry. Mortal Kombat does it better with the characters they be adding. They be adding some crazy guest characters. I think they do it a little bit better than Nintendo. Nintendo just set the trend though. Matter of fact, I mean, I'm not going to say Mortal Kombat does it better, NRS does it better. I'm pretty sure Nintendo did it better because they set the trend. But I think we could all agree that the guest characters they have in Mortal Kombat are like, those type of guest characters for Mortal Kombat just fit the setting. I think that's why it's just better, because it fits that game. But I think for this game, they just be adding anybody. Like, it's just like, they just be adding any type of fighting game character. That's like the funny part about it. It doesn't have to be fighting either. Banjo is not a fighting game character. Like, he's a action adventure character, or an adventure character. Just like Cloud. Cloud is not a fighting game character. He's an action adventure RPG character. Or is that JRPG? No, that's RPG. So Nintendo set the trend for other companies to add guest characters. Once they added Sonic and Snake and Brawl, that was it. Other companies was like, oh, word? Yeah, we gotta hop on that. I'm just saying. Now, mind you, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I just added this, made other companies think about adding more ways for players to play with friends. I kind of just added that. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to add at least 3 things, but I just couldn't think of anything else, because those are the only 2 things Nintendo set trends on. And I can't even elaborate on the third one because I don't think any other company really cares about that, which I'm gonna go into the last reason why Smash Brothers is better than fighting games. But yeah, just don't mind that. I was just adding that just to add it, like. But listen, the last reason why Smash Brothers is better than every fighting game, they have a wide variety of single player content. The netcode is trash, but probably because Smash wasn't really meant for online. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not watched my Street Fighter 6 video and my Mortal Kombat video, I think I mentioned it in Mortal Kombat 1, I'm not really too sure, but this is the problem with fighting games nowadays. There's nothing to do once I finish the main single player content in fighting games. I have not. Tekken 8 has not come out yet, so I don't know what game. I don't know what single player stuff they have in that. I know they have a story mode. They have volleyball mode. And I think they have Tekken Force back or whatever that mode is called. Again, I don't know what they have in that game yet, so I'm not gonna really get on Tekken yet. But Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, there's nothing for me to do in the game. I finished every single player stuff. I don't want to play online. I don't want to fight against some junkie that be drinking Mountain Dew all day, staying up 5 o'clock in the morning playing the game. I don't want to do it. I want to just play the game by myself, play with some CPUs, unlock some stuff, and feel good about myself. Simple. When I play Super Smash Brothers, there is so many things for me to do. So many single player content. I can never get bored. If I get bored of one thing, I could go to the next thing. Like, there's nothing I could complain about. If I have something to complain about, I just needed to destroy the game or sell it. With these other games, except Tekken, I'm not getting on Tekken because that game didn't come out yet. When Tekken 8 comes out, I have things to say. I promise you I'll make a video on it. But I'm just talking about Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. With those games, Street Fighter 6, after I finish War Tour and I finish Arcade with all the characters, there's nothing else for me to do. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing for me to do once I finish World Tour and Arcade with all the characters. There's nothing at all for me to do. It is a board fest. No Monopoly. Mortal Kombat. Once I finish the story mode. Once I finish Invasions and once I finish Tower with all the characters, there's nothing for me to do. Now mind you, I give NRS its points because they're actually updating the game. Unlike Street Fighter. We have not got a DLC. Bro, when was the last DLC we got? That was in October, September. Aki dropped. We are in January. And they're also giving us avatar skins for our avatar, which can only be used in Battle Hub or World Tour. And that's already a lot of money. So again. There is nothing for me to do in any other fighting game. When I go on Smash, there is a wide variety of things to do. Let me give y'all an example, please. I have to show y'all an example because y'all think I'm joking. Look, I'm on this website called Smash Wiki, right? And these are all the game modes. These are all the game modes. Look at this. All of the game modes. Every single game mode. Look at this. Every single game mode. This is the main, versus CPU stuff, whatever. You could take this online and do it. Well, this is the online stuff. Now look at the online stuff, right? There's barely any online stuff. Barely. You have your quick play, play with friends, play with anybody. Like, you have the typical stuff, right? But look at all the single player content. Look at this. Look at all this single player content. We cannot complain about nothing. I cannot complain about nothing. When it's time for me to play with the CPU, they have different ways for me to play with the CPU. They have time, they have stock, they got coin, they got bonus, they got stamina, rotation, 8-player smash, tourney, special smash, smash down. And special smash is a different thing in the entirety. You can go and see all the different things you want to change in the game. Insane, bro. Smash down, squad strike. Bro, there is endless amount of stuff to do in Smash Brothers. I don't have to say nothing else. Let me show y'all one last time because I'm not trolling y'all. This is all. Now, mind you, this is some of these are not here. Like, for example, Events is not in the Wii U version, but it's in, the 3DS version. Like, some of them are not in every game, but they make up for it. You get what I'm saying? So, for example, they didn't have Adventure and Brawl, but this was replaced with the story. So, and they didn't have adventure mode in the Wii U version, but they had something else, which I think it was like that board game thing, which was absolutely corny. But anyway, yeah, and then they brought back adventure mode in Ultimate, which is called World of Light or whatever. So again, to end off this video, Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers from Nintendo is the best fighting game of all time. No game can match it right now. Nothing. The only game that could probably match it is when Tekken 8 comes out. But as of right now, Mortal Kombat is not beating it. Street Fighter is not beating it. And that new Dragon Ball Z game, I don't think it's beating it. At all. Unless they add every single character, which I heard is going to be the most massive roster, which I highly doubt. They're not doing that. They're not adding. I promise you, they are not going to add. They are probably 9 times out of 10 not going to have the roster they had in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Budokai Tenkaichi 4. They won't do it. They have to put a paywall under that. They have to put a paywall for some characters. I'm sorry. They have to do it. Unless they put like a paywall like on like manga characters, like for example, Ultra Ego, Vegeta, Black Frieza, characters like that, which I highly doubt they're gonna do that. I really doubt it. I really doubt they're gonna do that. I really doubt they're gonna really do that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Smash Brothers is the best fighting game of all time. Nothing is topping it until they meet every single category Smash has hit. And clearly no fighting game is gonna beat that. I promise you it won't. 9 times out of 10, it won't. Now, Tekken 8 has the potential to being the best fighting game of all time. It has the potential. I just need to have a wide variety of single-player content. Because again, as I said, I do not want to play some big belly weirdo online all day. I don't want to do it. I don't want to play some Sonic Fox or some high-end player online. I don't want to do it. I'm sorry. I don't want to do it. People love playing online. That's good for you. For a single player, I want single player stuff to do. I don't want to play online. I don't ever want to play online. Most of the time, I don't. Unless I'm playing with my friend, cool. But 9 times out of 10, I want to play by myself. I don't want to play with nobody else. Let me find my computer. Let me have fun by myself. Let me enjoy my time playing by myself. Give me single player content to do. Let me have a treasure hunt or something. Like let me do something in the game. It's a fighting game for a reason. Don't let it be like, okay, there's nothing for me to do single player, I have to play online. No, I don't want to do that. I don't. It should be rewarding of the fact that I'm playing single player. You get what I mean? It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm playing single player, I'm bored. Nah, let it be where it's rewarding. And I think that's the biggest problem with fighting games nowadays. Like, there's no wide variety of single player content. There's nothing. Like, even if they do give you single player content, it's to the lowest extent. The lowest extent. Like, you probably get 1 game mode or 2 game modes and that's it. Once you finish it, that's it. You're done. Like, the typical thing of a fighting game is arcade, a game mode, and that's it. And training, that's it. Training to play online. Yeah, it's crazy. So again, Smash Brothers is the best fighting game of all time. No fighting game is going to beat that until it reaches every single category in this video. I'm sorry. It just won't. I'm not going to talk about the riff-offs like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl and all that foolishness. That game does not count. That game is absolutely garbage. We're not talking about that. We're definitely not talking about Brawlhalla, which Brawlhalla has some good crossovers. Brawlhalla is not topping Super Smash Bros. Let's keep it real. But yeah, that's all, man. Let me know how you guys feel about what I said in the comments. Do you agree? I know probably some of you are mad, but I know a lot of you relate because I know a lot of you don't like playing online. I know a lot of you just want to just play the game offline and just have fun playing offline, but it's almost like once you do the single player stuff, it's nothing for you to do. So you just play online just because. But majority, I'm not gonna say majority, but I'm pretty sure a good amount of us just want to just play the game. Like most of us don't want to play online. Probably a good amount of us have Wi-Fi and would have to just like, you know, resort to playing Wi-Fi with our trash Wi-Fi, and people complaining about us all day, like, you know what I mean? But they're complaining because we don't have other things to do. Like, there's nothing else for us to do. You get what I mean? So again, nothing is beating Smash Brothers for a fighting game. Nothing. Until I see Tekken 8 come out and I see what they have for single player content, then I'll be like, okay, Tekken 8 is probably the best fighting game of all time. But until then, Street Fighter 6 is not beating it, and definitely Mortal Kombat 1 is not beating nothing. So till then, yeah, that's it. Smash Brothers is the best fighting game.